Hello makers, welcome back to 3D Maker Noob. I'm Joe and today I'm going to be talking about ideaMaker. Now as many of you know, I do quite a lot of videos on ideaMaker. I've been using it quite exclusively for about a year and a half now, and I've done a few videos on ideaMaker and some features that it has. But recently ideaMaker reached out to me and asked me if I'm willing to do a series on ideaMaker to get you guys started for those of you who are very interested in trying it out but feel a bit overwhelmed to jump to a new slicer, which, trust me, I absolutely know how you feel. In my case, it was a bit easier to do transitions because I have raised machines and they use ideaMaker quite nicely. You have the profiles for the filaments already set, so I got used to it. But I got quite a lot of requests from you guys as well to teach you guys on how to set up a 3D printer, how to dial in filament profiles, and that's what this series will be about. And today we're going to start off very easy. We're just going to create printer profiles. Now, ideaMaker works by having a printer profile and obviously a filament profile. So today we're going to stick to just printer profile and just to get you guys started. And for that, I have these two printers here. This is the new Ender 3 version 2, which I just assembled during a live stream. And this is the Hicked Up D3 Hero. This is an IDEX printer. It has an independent dual extruder, which has one here and the other one there. I know many of you have asked me to show you guys how to set up a printer of this type, so we're going to jump right to it. We're going to head to ideaMaker and start creating a profile for the Ender 3. So first things first, you need to download the latest version of ideaMaker, and that you can find in the video description. Next, we're going to go to Printer, and we're going to go to Configuration Wizard. Now here, you have a preset list of all the ideaMaker printers. Here there are the ones that I've already created, but we're going to create a new one. So we're going to go to Others down here, which says Third-Party Printer. And this pop-up box comes up. So we're going to name the printer. In this case, it will be the Ender 3 version 2. You can set a printer type abbreviation. It's relevant. Nozzle diameter, very important. I know that my Ender 3 has a 0.4mm nozzle. And we also, very important, have to set the build volume. In the case of the Ender 3, it's 220 by 220 on the X and the Y, and the build height is 250. Next, you need to make sure that you check this use heat bed option here. Obviously, if you don't have a heat bed, that is unchecked. And we're going to make sure that the enable fan speed control is active as well. PWM is I believe a pulse width modulator. And basically this allows the G-code to actually set the speed of the fan during the print times. You have an option here which says distance from border of build plate. Now, this is sort of like a safety feature to ensure that you don't print right on the edge. It makes like a 2.5mm. Actually, I can just move it to the side over here. I can't. But if this represents the edge of the build plate, it will leave 2.5mm of tolerance there that the printer cannot print on, just to make sure you don't go over. Next is the build plate shape. You can choose whether it's rectangle or ellipse. Ellipse would be obviously the Delta format. And the firmware, which is Marlin based. You have other options here. You have riprap firmware, Raise 3D, and Marlin. We're going to set the extruder count. Now this is the Ender 3 V2. It only has one extruder. The primary extruder is PLA 1.75mm. You have other options here, but we'll stick to the just generic PLA 1.75. Now this, for sequential printing, I've done a video before on how to set up sequential printing, so I suggest you have a look at that to understand more in depth how this sequential printing option here works, and also how this primary extruder measurements here work. Last but not least, the default actions. When you slice something, it gives you an option, a default action, either to export to local disk, to save it on SD card. You can upload to printer if that is possible, or you can upload to Raise Cloud. Raise Cloud being also a feature which I did an episode on. In this case, I always set to export to local disk. Next, we're going to go to Advanced. Now on Advanced tab, there are a lot of things which you don't really need to worry about. I tend to leave the stock, which is the steps, the E steps per millimeter, because that's usually default on the firmware of the printer. I don't touch the X and Y compensation, and the baud rate. I don't tend to change that either because I don't tend to connect printer through USB. But if you do, you need to set the right baud rate for your printer. This option here, it's a bit complex. So basically, in order to change the flow rate of filament, you usually send a G-code command to the printer. However, in this case, if you check it, what it does is just the G-code when it's slicing to apply the filament flow rate that you want in the slicing. So just set it up like that and you should be fine. Here you have a few more options. You can confirm if you want to use a raft. If the size is more than set amount, it will ask you. So if the model is larger than 150 millimeters, for example, when you slice, it'll tell you this model is bigger than X amount. Would you like a raft? This is the same thing as well, but it asks you to confirm a raft if you're printing in duplication or mirror mode. That is for dual extruders, which we will get to very shortly. This is also good for dual extruders. It's basically asking you to wait for the heating at extruder switch. So when you're switching from one extruder to next, it makes sure that the hot end is at the right temperature before actually switching. And this is relative extrusion. So in terms of extrusion, there is absolute length and relative length. It's a whole other complicated matter to actually describe this, but just for the sake of this video, we're going to set relative extrusion. It's a way of how the printer sets how much travel has been done, whether it resets or it adds to that. It's a bit complicated to explain, but I would suggest if you're using Marlin, choose relative extrusion. It makes life easier. This is finally the temperature limit. You usually have to set a temperature max for the heat bed just to make sure that the printer doesn't go overboard. I tend to set it at 100. And these are custom G codes. Make sure that if it's not a Race 3D printer, make sure that checkbox is checked, which is omit Race Touch specific G code. And finally here you have data files. Now, when you slice something in ideaMaker, you can export the G code and also a data file to go along with it. A lot of people don't want that, but I tend to leave it there for a couple of reasons. The data file has a lot of information on the model, and based on that data file, you can actually create a profile, a full printer profile and slicing profile based on that data file. So you can just, ideaMaker has this option to be able to extract that data and set it up as a profile. And you can also add that content of that data file within the G code itself. So you can remove the output data file, and you can add the data file into the G code itself. This obviously will create a larger file, so you can just remove both of those if you're not interested, and you just export a G code file. And finally, we have the primary extruder, which we're talking about. This basically takes the measurements of the hot end assembly or the extruder itself. Once again, I'll link to the video in order to know exactly how to set those up. Finally, the temperature limit. You have to set a temperature limit for your hot end. In my case, I like to set it up to about 280 just to be safe. It all depends on the hot end you are using. Now for the, if it's an all metal hot end, 280 is fine. If it's not an all metal hot end, usually 260, 270 is the max you should go to. I set it 280 just, just because, but I never usually go over 260 if it's not an all metal hot end, because the PTFE tends to release toxic gases. So yeah, just be aware of that. And that is it. Click OK. Then once again, goes back to the configuration wizard, go to next, just confirming the extruder count and the heat bed. Next, the filament type, 1.75, and finish. And that's it. You basically have your printer profile. Now, if you want to import a model, just to give you an idea, let's go to desktop and just that 2020 cube. If you want to start slicing, you don't have any filament profiles here. You need to create those, but we're going to leave that for the next episode. First, though, I want to show you how to set up the IDEX printer. Now, remember that 200 or 2.5 millimeter border that I mentioned that doesn't overlap? It's right over here. You can remove that if you want, of course. If you go to printer, you go to printer settings, you can actually just remove that and it goes away. So next is the IDEX. Now for an IDEX, it's very similar. We're going to go to other third-party printers. We're going to go to Hictop D3 Hero. Same thing, nozzle diameter 0.4. Build width is 300 by 300 by 400. It does use a heat bed. It does use PWM controlled fans. Distance we're going to set to 0. It is rectangle. It does use Marlin. I'm going to set the extruder count to 2. Then obviously you have preset the left and right extruder filament, which are both 1.75. Once again, gantry height, and for sequential printing, refer to the other video, and export to local disk. Then we're going to go to advanced. Now here, I'm going to Click on that as we did before. We're going to ignore these parts over here. This helps you in a couple of things. One, ideaMaker gives you the ability to slice in duplication and mirror mode, and it also tells them that it's an independent dual extruder. So it has to set different parameters for the instructions in order how the movement of the extruders work, or the hot ends in this case. Once again, we can confirm using raft size if it's more than 150. Now, I would check this box here, confirm using raft if print mode in duplication or mirror. When you're printing in duplication or mirror mode, certain nozzles might have a slight offset from one another. So printing with a raft always helps to make sure that your nozzle doesn't dig into the bed on one side while the other one is printing perfectly fine. We're gonna, once again, heat up the wait for heating at extruder switch, because we want to make sure that when the IDEX switches from one extruder to the other, the hot end has reached full temperature. Once again, relative extrusion enabled, heat bed temperature 100 degrees. Now this, you actually have, once again, we're going to set that to 280. Once again, to measure these, refer to the other video, same here, and also temperature. Now, we have these offset. Now, the slicer wants to know the distance between the left nozzle and the right nozzle. This would work if it's a dual nozzle printer within one hot end, so like the ones that you used to come out, or also the Raise Pro 2, for example. There's a set distance between one nozzle and the next. Now, IDEX are completely independent of each other. So essentially, this should be 0, because where one nozzle is, the other can reach as well on the build plate, because one switches to the other. So that has to be 0 only for IDEX printers. If it's not an IDEX printer, if it's something like the Raise Pro 2, you have to measure the distance between the left and right nozzles on the x-axis and also on the y, just in case there is an offset. This is a virtual offset. Now, if this is set to 0, you have a virtual offset. So this works in order to give the slicer a better understanding of how far the extruder is when it's in a parked position, and make sure that the other extruder or the other hot end doesn't hit it when it's printing on the side of the printer. So let's say, for example, the Raise E2 parks its extruders off the build plate, of course, but the left extruder, for example, cannot travel all the way to the right of the build plate because there is the extruder parked on the side and it might hit it. To give you an idea, I'm going to leave that 0 and click on save, and I'm going to import a model. So this is set for the left extruder. As you can see, there's that 25 millimeters over there. So basically the extruder or the slicer will not allow you to print anything past that, because you gave it a virtual offset to make sure that it doesn't hit the right extruder. Now for the hick top, the extruder is really far off to the right in order to be able to make use of the full build plate. So if I go to printer settings, go back to the right here and set it to 0 and click on save, that is removed completely. And that, ladies and gents, is how you set up a printer. It's relatively easy. It was more of a matter of explaining exactly what there is and what there isn't. In the next episode, I'm going to show you how to set up a filament profile. We're going to start off basic, just a standard filament profile, and we're going to talk about what to look for when setting up a printer which is a direct extruder, or it's a Bowden type extruder, because there are a few things you want to look at in terms of speed, possibly, depending on the type of the printer, retraction lengths and everything. So we'll talk about those. I'll show you how to set up a filament profile. And following that, we'll start talking about more features that ideaMaker has, how to fine-tune or dial in a filament profile. And yeah, I hope that this will be useful to many of you. ideaMaker recently also launched a filament profile library, or a printer profile library as well. It's called ideaMaker.io. That's where I upload most of my printer profiles for ideaMaker. Whenever I have fine-tuned a profile, I tend to upload it there. I've already uploaded quite a few already. So make sure you check it out, register. So yeah, it's a nice community place where people can upload their filament profiles, share the models, share their settings, and it's awesome to have, because I know a lot of you have been asking me for my ideaMaker profile, so that just makes life much easier for me. That is it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and as always, happy making, guys.